Pinnacle Mountain Fire, which began on November 9th, 2016, burned for about a month. We called it contained on December 6th. It was 10,623 acres, and it was started by a bunch of hikers along the Palmetto Trail. They were camping out, and the embers blew out of their fire and blew over the cliff. And so they couldn't put it out, and it took a couple hours for us to even to hike into where the fire began. But because of the steep country, as you can see here, very hard to get to, very hard to get our dozers, which is the normal way that we put fires out here in South Carolina, to get into the fire. And so it got over Pinnacle Mountain very quickly because fire moves upslope very fast as it's drying the fuels out. We saw that it was going to be a major event. It's going to be more than one operational period, so we ended up calling in other resources to put the fire out. Once it went over Pinnacle Mountain though, and it went through Panther Gap and started moving towards Table Rock State Park, or Table Rock, we saw probably our worst nightmare that we've been dreading for years is, what if we have to burn the rock, you know? But the safest way, what we figured is we had to create a huge box in order to box this fire in. That's what firefighters do, is to kind of create a box in order to trap the fire and contain it. And that included Table Rock and the stool. And then we were going to tie it into the Greenville Reservoir. And so it was a long process. We did trap the fire in that box, but we also knew that there was going to be a huge wind event that was coming. So this is about 10 days after the fire started. And the wind event was a 50-mile-an-hour winds that blew embers across the Saluda River, which is behind the rock. So once it got across the river, it burned into the Greenville watershed, and it was finally stopped on the North Carolina-South Carolina state line, where the North Carolina Forest Service had been working for weeks trying to prepare that line. In the aftermath of the fire, we were talking with the state park officials here at Table Rock, as well as other state parks up here in the upstate, and really realized that prescribed burning was a critical part of keeping the fuel load, the hazardous fuel load, you know, to a minimum. And so that brought in all the partners and cooperators that we've been working with to bring in the TREX, which is a training effort that brings in people that are interested in learning more about prescribed fire and how to run it within the incident management system. So you have a controlled training session, and everybody's learning how to put fire in the woods and put it in the woods in an organized and controlled manner. But within that month of fighting fire, no homes or structures were lost, no lives were lost. The water quality in the Greenville Reservoir still remains high, which is a pristine reservoir which feeds Greenville, the city of Greenville and surrounding communities. Also, there was no injuries on the fire, and you know, we had firefighters from the low country that came to fight in the mountains, you know, so very difficult terrain for them. And but with all the organization that the Incident Command System brings, and the experience and the training that the firefighters get, we were able to fight the fire successfully for a whole month with, like I said, no injuries and no loss of life.